Hi everyone, I'm Shara Binti Shakir and today we are going to present to you about our findings regarding English as a lingua franca in outer and expanding circle. There is Japanese, Algeria and Egypt as expanding circle and Nigeria and Brunei for the outer circle. Let's get started! Okay, let's go with the first country is Egypt. We are going through one by one in the Egyptian English and how English come to the country and used as a lingua franca. This is our first beautiful subject, which is her name is Eman Ekrami, and she is 19 years old. She had finished her high school in 2024 in language school, and her nationality is Egyptian. Her ethnicity is Arabs, and her job right now is a freelance. When talk about history of Egyptian English, English come to Egypt with the Anglo-Egyptian War in 1882 where Egyptian and Sudanese forces under Ahmed Urabi and the United Kingdom, that time known as the British conquest of Egypt. And the second one is English expand globally and most of the citizens of Egypt that speak English, best select English when communicate with surrounding and the people around them. And English also known as the second language where Arab be the first language in Egypt.
Discussions how English started spreading in your country.
Okay, so it started to spreading because at 1828, I think, there was occupation from the British. It was a war.
Oh,
So
war.
since
Oh.
that time, it was a war at 1882, I think. So it was very long time ago. British people occupied Egypt, especially area called Alexandria. It's another government.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone since that time learned English and they catch words from them. So I guess.
Oh, okay. It's from British. Okay, for the next questions. Are you really actually comfortable with speaking English?
I'm actually comfortable, but because my study
Uh-huh.
since I was little,
Mhm.
all in English, like physics, chemistry, biology, maths.
Oh,
So
you
like
thought
everything
as
I
well. Oh, okay.
so like yeah, I feel comfortable a little bit. Just sometimes I get lagged, like I need to speak Arabic.
I know. So like in your when you're with your friends, does you speak English or like speak Arabic?
Actually, because I don't have really Egyptian friends,
Mm-hmm.
I usually use English more because they are not Egyptian. So like
Oh,
I
I see.
communicate in English.
Oh, all right. Okay.
More easy for me to speak English.
Oh, okay. All right.
The second one is power of English in career prospect. In Egypt, career prospect does not really into fluent in English for getting a job. When they come across for the requirement for seeking a job, they need to fluent in two language other than English, which is they can speak French or other than English. Besides, because of English is likely general and the most speakly language in Egypt. And they need to fluent in language at most, and English is exceptional for the requirement for getting a job. And the use of English in Egypt is very general as everyone fluent in it.
Okay.
Like this.
All right. For the first questions, do the people around you speak English like your parents or your friends?
Actually, my mom speaks English and French because she traveled to France before.
Oh, fine.
And my brothers, yeah, my brothers too speak English fluently. Even my big brothers speak better than me.
Oh, yeah. Also,
Because
likely like your family member all speak English.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Because me and my brothers are at the same school.
For the third one, which is phonology features for Egyptian English in terms of consonant cluster. Egyptian unable to follow the consonant sound such as p and v. Those words are going to sound b. For example, proud to proud. When they speak English, they tend to insert glottal ending vowel, and they hardly pronounce the words that contain the sound of vowels such as literally and comfortable, influenced by their first language, which is Arabic. When it comes to rhoticity, by the influence of the Empire of British, Egyptian English removed or silent the sound of r when pronounced the words, such as sure to sure. Sure. These findings are being supported by Barros 2003, which is, according to him, sounds like the is mostly replaced by a plosive the sound, such as in the words there and then, which are produced as there and then. Other examples include the sound p, v, which are pronounced as b, f. These examples and others are also cited in Barros 2003 in her Egyptian samples.
Next, do you think there is a big difference between your country's English and other countries' English?
I think yes, because like we use some slang and other countries use another slang like British and American. There's a big difference. And
Hmm.
especially with the accent, as I told you. Is the accent here is very, very different from another countries. Like especially not everyone understand it.
Like, can you compare
Like
between
you will
your
not
country and can you compare like your country and other country? Something that you find.
like with the Arabic countries,
Uh-huh.
like some like Jordan. Jordan,
Oh.
their English is very good, like very good. But
Mm-hmm.
here in Egypt, we have like we don't care about the sound of the letter. Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't really care about the sound. As long as you understand and you know what I
Yeah.
said, yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Rhythm
English.
like
Like
the
with
way the Egyptians speak like this,
the
the
sound,
rhythm with Jordan is really different.
yes, like the difference between the P and the B.
P
We
P
don't P and the B.
P.
We mix it and make it B. Both are B.
So can you give some words that the like to give example for P and B?
Okay, like pineapple. We use
Pineapple,
it pineapple. Yeah,
oh,
pineapple.
pineapple,
We say
pineapple.
pineapple.
Ah,
Pineapple.
okay, okay, I get it,
It's
got
like
it, get it.
pizza. We say pizza. Oh, and like PlayStation, we play PlayStation.
Oh, alright, alright. Other
Here.
than pineapple and pineapple, other than that,
No, no, no. It's very different. Like it's the real pronunciation about it is pineapple.
pineapple,
There is difference between yeah pineapple, but we say pineapple.
pineapple. Oh,
Yeah,
or the pronunciation of P tends to B.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. We mix it.
So like when you like want to say proud of you, is that like a proud of you?
Very proud. براوز يعني.
Oh,
That is all from me. Thank you. Don't forget to hear our next presentation or our next slide, which is about the other country and how English as a lingua franca work for them. Bye.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nohayani Binti Helmi and I'm from EC5B. Today I will be presenting about cultural Spanish circle, which is Japan. Now, before we start, let's get to know more about who this subject is.
Okay, my name is Kento. And now, recently, I graduated from college and I'm running the online shop.
Besides that introduction, I will share more details about him with you. His name is Kento Tajima, 23 years old this year, and obviously he's male. His nationality is Japanese and his ethnicity is also Japanese. His education is sociology, global data science, and his spoken language is Japanese. There are many reasons why I chose him as my subject. He started learning English in the 4th grade of elementary school, and he also studied English earnestly at university, practicing at a place on campus where international students gathered. He also told me that he interested in the English language and decided to major it in college. He was raised by his parents and spoke Japanese at home. So moving on to the next slide, aspect 1, history, development, and current progress of English. The question that I asked him is that what do you think are the biggest challenges for Japanese learners of English? And this is his response for the questions.
I think it's speaking. As I said before, we mainly learn listening and reading and a little bit writing as well. This is because many universities and high school exam requires only reading and listening skills. So because of this, we don't have opportunity to practice speaking. So the biggest challenges for us would be the speaking.
The summary that I made from his response is that the biggest challenge for Japanese people when it comes to English is speaking. It is because in school they mainly listen, reading and writing in English, but they are not really practicing on speaking in English with each other as it is not their main language. When they want to communicate with foreigners in English, it might sound kinda awkward because they are not used to it. But as they started to enroll in university, their communication skills in English improved as they are surrounded with lots of foreigners. Although they started to communicate with foreigners using simple and basic words of English, they find it useful and boost their confidence in communications. According to David, 2024, February 21st, schooling focused on memorization and grammar rather than practical language use, giving students limited chance to actually speak English, which can slow their development of comprehension and application skills. Many English teachers are proficient in teaching grammar, reading, and writing, but they often lack experience in teaching conversational skills. This might be because they have limited exposure to using English in native setting. As a result, grammar becomes the main focus while pronunciation and practical communication skills often receive later attention.
日本の教育的に話すことはあんまりしてないからできないのは当然で、中高6年も英語やってるのに喋れない人がたくさんいるっていうのはどうなのかなってずっと思ってましたね。
The next slide is the aspect 2, which is about power of English in the chosen country. The question that I asked him during the interview session is that how English is being used in Japan, and this is his response for the question.
Well, in my country, I think it's only in education at school, like fourth grade of the elementary school and the junior high school and high school. So, and also we don't learn much about speaking, but we mainly learn listening and reading, and sometimes writing. These are the main subjects. So many Japanese people are good at grammar in English, but they can't speak English.
The other summary that I made from his response is that in Japan, they mainly learn English in school as it is only a supplementary subject for them. So it is quite hard for them to understand English unless when they study in school. Although they have some difficulties to understand English in the beginning, some of them manage to score good marks in writing and reading. It is because they are high impatient towards learning English. For example, there are many content creators or influencers from Japan that are fluent in speaking English, and some people might misunderstood them that they are not people from Japan. They find it useful to learn English as they can approach people from other countries to learn more about Japan, even though they are not really speaking in Japan. According to Osterman 2014, the average Japanese student studies English as a foreign language for at least 8 years. In other research, Provenzano and Yu 2011 focus on speaking assignments to create more opportunities for English use. A survey of 115 students showed that they felt that extra practice improved class discussion. Specifically, practicing speaking itself led to greater confidence and fluency in English. In response to an interview question on what would improve their English skills, 42% of students reported that speaking with native English speaker rather than focusing on grammar would be an effective way to enhance their abilities. The last slide is the aspect 3 focus on phonological features of chosen English variety. And this is the last question that I asked him during the interview session. Can you provide a few examples of Japanese English words that are different from standard English pronunciation? And this is his response for the question that I gave him.
For example, the radio, we pronounce radio, so it's a bit different. And also the TV and television, we usually say terebi. It's abbreviation.
From his answer, I know that the pronunciation is different since some of the sounds do not exist in Japanese language. They tend to simplify or modify words that feel more natural for them. For example, radio, radio, television, televi, strike, sutraiku, remote control, remote con. That's interesting, right? According to James D'Angelo, 2021, the problem of the substitution of L by R is well known. The Japanese sounds inventory has no L but has a flap R with lateral opening. Although the difference between the two is audible to Japanese English speakers, many of them substitute L with R, for example, plan as pran. When Japanese speakers read a text, however, the substitution is less frequent than in freely spoken text. The substitution occurs in all positions of the word except the final position. For example, well, feel. The reverse substitution of R with L also occurs. For example, run becomes land, but less frequently. And next, I will show you more explanation and example video of it.
これを読んでみてください。ライス
Rice.
Rice.
ライス
Black.
ブラック
Black.
Black. We do have problems telling the difference between L and R sound, right?
Japanese has rarirurero as sounds which are romanized as R's, which is why we say ramen in English, R-A-M-E-N, but it's not actually an R. It's like halfway between an R and an L, and kind of like a D in there a little bit sometimes too.
Yeah, like when we pronounce rarirurero, the tip of your tongue touches the back of your higher teeth. So lower teeth and higher teeth, your tongue touches here. So I think it's same as L sound. La,
Yeah.
like, la, la.
So it's pronounced more like an L, but it kind of sounds closer to an R for us. So that's why when Japanese people hear the English L and R, it's hard for them to differentiate between the two because their sound is like right in the middle.
In conclusion, phonological difference between Japanese and English shape English pronunciation in Japan, leading to adaptations like added vowels and altered consonants. While these adjustments make English words easier to pronounce, they can limit natural sounding speech, focusing on pronunciation, practice, and conversational skills. Alongside grammar could significantly improve fluency and comprehension for Japanese learners of English.
Hi, I'm Nurin Hasan, and I'm going to present for English in Algeria. Here are some information about my subject. The name of my subject is Chaima Bembali. and she is 18 years old. She is an Algerian, which her ethnicity is Arab, and her mother tongue is Arabic. She is a university student in Oran, Algeria, and she spoke Arabic, French, and English. She was born and raised in Algeria. She does not use English with her family, but use it to communicate with her friends in her daily life. And she has started learning English at 11 years old at school, and also from the internet, as she is a music lover. For the first aspect, which is history, development, and current progress of English, I choose the question how English is being used in your country. Based on my research, English is not your lingua franca, and English is gaining more territory in Algeria to stay tuned with globalization. And it has started to be recognized within Algerian society, especially among the younger generation. It, it occupies a global position that covers various perspectives, mainly communication, education, science, economy, and culture. And English is no longer considered a second foreign language, but as the first foreign language. This is furthermore supported by the answers of my interviewee, which is China.
English is increasingly being used in Algeria, especially in education, business, and media. Though French has traditionally been the second language, English is growing in popularity, particularly among the younger generation and in professional context. For example, schools, primary, in they started learning English. I think since the last year or before the last year, I don't remember. But before, we only used to learn French and Arabic. But now they added English as a third language. Most of younger people are using it. They think that it's better than French because it's easier. And yeah, this is it.
For the second aspect, which is the power of English, I choose the question, do you feel that the use of Algerian English is growing or evolving among younger speakers? If so, how? And based on my research, the internet today is a bottom-up platform for Algerian English users to reach the higher ends of the climb. Not only that, Algerian youth used to express themselves in English and become users of this language in an unprecedented fashion. And lastly, in fact, 89% of affluent respondents to a Euromonitor survey are able to speak English at an intermediate level, while only 15% of respondents of lower socio-economic status speak it at the same level of proficiency. This is again supported by the response of Ms. China. Do you feel that the use of Algerian English is growing or evolving among younger speakers? If so, how?
Yes, it is definitely growing, especially with the influence of social media.
Yes, yes,
Global culture and education. All these can influence in the individual.
Mm.
Younger people are more exposed to English content online, and they are increasingly incorporating sorry, they are incorporating English into their everyday speech,
Uh,
and
so,
sometimes blending it with Arabic or French, just the same way I am doing. When I'm speaking to a friend of mine,
I use Arabic and I can mix it with French or English, but I use English more. But it depends on the person I'm talking to. If I know that that person speaks English, then I will use English words. But if I know that he's not, then I will not, you know?
I understand. So the way that English is growing among younger speakers are via the internet, the online stuff. Okay, as you say.
Yeah, this is the main reason. But then the second reason is just schools, sorry. Schools and also in universities.
Yeah,
yeah, there is some subjects that we learn in English, we take in English.
For the third aspect, the phonological feature that I found is pronunciation of E and E. The distinction between the front short and long vowel in sheep and she is not noticed, so words having E or E is generally produced with E. The same realization for both words is quite common since Arabic uses length mainly as a contrastive element in grammar. The second phonological features that I found is diphthong pronunciation. Diphthongs such as O, as in most, are sometimes changed into U, most, where the second vowel becomes a consonant, becoming, thus, a rural Algerian diphthong. The last phonological features that I found on my research is consonant cluster. S sound, when intervocalic as in disagree or disappear, undergoes a French phonologic route when intervocalic S sound becomes Z sound. These words are therefore realized as disagree and disappear. This is also supported by the way my interviewee pronounced the sound S, because the way she pronounced the sound S sound like S.
There is some schools and business.
The next one is vowel cluster. Her pronunciation of the word dine sounds like dawn. For example,
I've done.
not only that, her pronunciation also influenced by the French language. The pronunciation of R sound are in the throat. For example,
Internet.
and the last one is vowel digraph. The pronunciation of O sound is pronounced as U sound. For example,
Facebook.
here are the references of my studies. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mamari with IDI 2303035 from the EC5B, and today I will do an explanation analysis about the outer circle country, which is Brunei Darussalam. The country I choose is Brunei Darussalam. Brunei is a country that located in northern coast of island of Borneo in Southeast Asia. Brunei achieved independence in 1984, having been British protectorate since 1888. Bandar Sri Begawan was the capital city of Brunei Darussalam. Bahasa Melayu or Malay was a national language of Brunei, while English appointed as a second language. English is widely used in Brunei as it was the medium of instruction in school, especially subjects like science and mathematics and many more. And here is the background of my subject. Her name is Sazwani Hanim. She is 25 years old from Brunei Darussalam, and currently she is now studying at Al-Azhar University in Egypt, where she is pursuing a degree in Sharia Islamia law, and now she is currently at her final year. And one thing about herself, she can speak Arabic, Egyptian, English, Brunei Malay, and even Indonesian. And what makes her suitable for this interview, as she was exposed from the young age about learning, speaking, and writing in English. For the aspect 1, in terms of history, development, and current progress, I asked her a question: how English is spreading in your country? And here is her response.
Second question is, how is English start spreading in your country?
For me, for English language start to spread in Brunei, ever since the UK British, that thing, and then ever since that we have to score our English language as our second language. That's why English language is very important for us, other than the Brunei Malay, because all of our subject depends on English. So it starts at a young age.
To support her statement, based on my research, English first came to Brunei in 1839 when James Brooke helped the Sultan defeat a rebellion that makes him earning the title of governor and later White Raja of Sarawak. His rule and land acquisition significantly shaped modern Brunei. In 1888, Brunei became a British protectorate, which significantly increased the influence of the English language in the country. This influence grew further in 1906 when a British resident was appointed to administer Brunei, taking over many powers from the Sultan. Although English spread during this period of British rule, Malay remained the most widely spoken language among the population. The most significant period of English influence in Brunei began after the country gained independence in 1984, especially with the introduction of bilingual education system in 1985. This system initially taught students in Malay for the first 3 years of primary school, after which they shift to English for most subjects. This approach continued throughout their education, solidifying English as the language of higher education and the intellectual elite, thus elevating its status and necessity in Brunei. Furthermore, over the years, English became valued and widely used alongside Malay, and for today, English continued to be important in education, government, and daily life as a bridge for communication in Brunei. For the aspect 2, in terms of power of English in chosen country, I asked her a question: has English become a lingua franca in the sector of education, government, and entertainment in your country? And this is her answer.
Yes, I think it has becoming a common in language, because from our education, as I said before, it has been used from the primary school. That English has been used in mathematics, science, social studies, or any of the subject except for Malay language and Pendidikan Islam, except for that. And then for the governments and many, I think for all of the documents require we to use in English, I think. And most of our paperworks we're using in English. So I guess it has been using English.
The power of English in chosen country in terms of education. At first, Brunei's bilingual education system began with students being taught in Standard Malay during preschool and the first 3 years of primary education. Afterward, English took over as the medium of instruction for subjects like mathematics, science, geography, English language, and even history. But for history, it only up until 1995 before it shifted back to Malay. This transition underscored the role of English as a critical tool for academic and professional development, while Malay remained central to Brunei culture. In terms of government, according to the Brunei Report 2011, the Sultanate has built strong international relations as a member of several organizations, including the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN and the United Nations, with all political dealings conducted in English, emphasizing its role as a lingua franca in government. And based on the interview, the subject says that English has become a common language in her country, especially in education, and state that many paperwork and documents using English as a medium of work. Also, in aspect 2, it shown how English is play a significant impact on when the Ministry of Home Affairs of Brunei launched the second English daily paper titled The Brunei Times, because there was just only one English language newspaper available, which is Borneo Bulletin. And this is the aspect 3 in terms of feature of phonological in Brunei English. Through the interview, I noticed that the word was pronounced clearly by the interviewee, and some of the word was pronounced with British Standard English, but the accent that she used still influenced by the Brunei Malay. And the usage of accent can be justified, as in the Brunei system of education, children learn to read Malay before they learn English. So it is not surprising if the regular nature of Malay spelling increases the occurrence of spelling pronunciation in the local variety of English, according to the 13G 2014.
Okay, any sounds in English Brunei pronounce differently from the actual word.
I think the way we said that word, as in the accent, maybe more into like Malay accent but using English. I think in Malaysian use it as well. Like, why don't you go here, like that?
Yes,
We don't
actually it's really common.
use that British accents most of the time.
It's like, yeah, it's
And phonological in terms of vowel, made by Sabrina. 10 years later, Sabrina 2006 conducted an investigation into the vowels of Brunei English using acoustic measurement and auditory judgment, confirming the tendency for long and short vowels, such as those in the words please and kid, to be merged, while also demonstrating that there was minimal distinction between the vowels in dress and trap. And here another research by Ishamina Attira 2016, research on the TH sounds indicate that the pronunciation of TH generally does not interfere with intelligibility. However, the analysis suggests that the pronunciation of medial voice TH by Brunei speakers can sometimes be problematic. It can be concluded that using T for TH sounds is not an issue. Through the interview, I noticed that the word was pronounced clearly by the interviewee, and some of the word was pronounced with British Standard English, but the accent that she used still influenced by the Brunei Malay. And the usage of accent can be justified, as in the Brunei system of education, children learn to read Malay before they learn English. So it is not surprising if the regular nature of Malay spelling increases the occurrence of spelling pronunciation in the local variety of English, according to the 13G 2014. And here is the snippet of the video how her accent is still influenced by the Brunei Malay.
okay, any sounds in English Brunei pronounce differently from the actual word.
I think the way we said that word, as in the accent, maybe more into like Malay accent but using English. I think in Malaysian use it as well. Like, why don't you go here, like that?
Yes,
We don't
actually it's really common.
use that British accents most of the time.
It's like, yeah, it's
And I noticed how the way she pronounced the word, like comfortable, more and other, was influenced by British English, and here is the snippet of the video.
Talking with. If that people comfortable with using English, I might be as well. But if that person, if I realize that they more comfortable with their language or maybe more so far that I've been talking with the other countries, they understand me well.
In conclusion, can be defined that English was an important in Brunei, especially in sectors like government, education. Even after they gained independence and free from British, it really left a significant impact in Brunei Darussalam. For the reflection, can we say that I have gained a lot of information about Brunei and find it fascinating how English has become widespread and plays a crucial role in the country today, even though they are continued to maintain Bahasa Melayu as the national language.
Hi, my name is Nurul Salaha binti Maknur. My ID would be IDI 2303032 and I'm from DEC 5B. So today I will be talking about English in Nigeria. So this is the biodata of my subject. So her name is Favor. She is 19 years old. Her nationality is Nigerian and her ethnicity is Igbo. And for her education, she is now furthering her studies in Diploma in Science Laboratory Technology in Nigeria. And her spoken language is Igbo and English. She was born and raised in Nigeria, and she have learned English since nursery school because it is a mandatory subject there. So she speaks Igbo with her family members sometimes, but she mainly uses English in her daily life. So on to the next slide is the power of English in Nigeria. So based on my research, the first point is the official language is English. Nevertheless, it is spoken less often in rural region and among persons with lower education levels. According to the language data for Nigeria, translated without border 2022. And the next one is English is utilized as the single official language in practically every official environment, including the governance, education, mass media, and law courts. Nigerian English, Oxford English Dictionary, ND. In the interview that I did with the subject of mine, I asked her about the opinion of how is English being used in Nigeria, and this is her response to it.
First off, I would say English is just like a English is what everyone and every family here in Nigeria uses. It's like a priority. Let me
Right.
just use it like that. It's like a priority and it's a must that you must use English here. English is used frequently and fluently here in Nigeria. It's just like part of your daily life. You can't move on without it. That's just how English is here in Nigeria.
On to the next one is the history of Nigerian English. So, based on my research, the use of English language in Nigeria dates back to the late 16th and early 17th century when British merchants and Christian missionaries settled in the coastal towns called Badagry near Lagos in the present-day south-western Nigeria and Calabar, a town in the present-day southeastern Nigeria, Taiwo 2009. It was our subject. about how did English start spreading in Nigeria, and this is her response to it.
We were colonized by the British. That was how English started.
On to the next one is the development and the current progress. In Nigeria, English is now a co-official language with Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. However, this is only in concept, since in fact English is the single official language in practically all official situations, including governance, education, mass media, and law court. Introduction to Nigerian English, Oxford English Dictionary, ND. And now we are going to the analysis, Nigerian English phonetics. So for the first one, we are going to talk about the vowel and consonant. Nigerian English tends to simplify the vowel system, often leading to fewer vowel distinction. A consonant cluster may also be reduced. So for example, we have here is friend. Friend may be pronounced as friend. Text may be pronounced as text. So I have a clip of our subject saying those words in the next clip.
I just have my friends.
And then we have the monotonization. Diphthongs are often realized as monotones, e.g., A becomes A according to Udafort 2022. And for example, here we have they, say, name. So we have some of the clip of our subject saying all this example of word in the next video.
Hi, my name is Favor. The way you say it.
Then for the third one is rhythm. So Nigerian English combines syllable time rhythm common in Nigerian languages with stress sign pattern seen in British English, according to Udafort 2022. So for example, here we have family, pronounced as family, syllables are not reduced or shortened. And the next one is important. British English stress the important, but in Nigerian English you might hear important, giving more equal weight to each syllable. And I have the video of Favor saying those words.
And every family.
Next one is going to be intonation. It features less varied intonation, often maintaining a level or falling tone rather than the more dynamic pitch movement of British or American English, according to Udafort 2022. So we have the example, the word alright. For British and American English, right might have the rising tone, but for Nigerian English, a more level tone on the right. And this is the example of our Miss Favor saying the word alright.
Alright.
Okay, I think that's the end of today's video about English in Nigeria, and this is the bibliography of my the whole list of references that I have based on the research that I've done to do this work. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
We come to the conclusion after all. English has been used all around the world as the lingua franca. Most of the people also use English in terms of business, education, trading, and marriage alliance between two different countries. Social media is one of the platforms that use English worldwide, especially the user itself, for making it easier for them to communicate with people all around the world to understand what they want to say or convey. This has proved the power of English as the lingua franca.